The world is changing, and it's changing fast. To plan in this changing world of work is not the easiest thing to do. Everything that we know, or that we think that we knew, has changed dramatically in the last few years, and it brings extraordinary challenges to people that has to plan for the future, seeing that the current reality is VUCA: volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. That is the new normal, the VUCA environment, and that is what we're going to talk about today, to see how do we plan in this world of uncertainty, and what are the things that we can control and that we should be focusing on in order to not only survive but to thrive in this type of an environment. So just to talk a little bit about the old and the new. We were comfortable in stability. There was quite a lot of certainty. If people started working in a specific environment, they were fine to work there and to know everything that they need to know to complete their career. All of that has changed. And what has happened is that people are becoming more and more discomfortable or uncomfortable in this new scenario. There's very fast change. It's unpredictable. It's even difficult to identify the patterns and the trends. There's lots of disruption and change. The past can't really predict the future because there's such a lot of new things that come in that it's almost impossible to predict what is going to happen next. There's lots of interdependent causes, so the complexity becomes more and more, and there's very little clarity in terms of what is real and what is true. So we can talk about that for quite a long time, and we will get very, very varying opinions about what is the real scenario of where we are currently. So let's look at what is the behavior that you might even be able to identify in your work environment. So volatility creates a lot of fear. People become risk averse, and everyone wants to actually just try to go back to the comfort of what we need to know. So people's reaction to volatility is a lack of action, uncertainty, a lot of mistrust that appears in the work environment. The uncertainty creates a paralysis, and people start to react to certain things instead of planning ahead. We have lots and lots of data, so we become almost paralyzed with the data that is there. So there's such a lot of information coming around that people don't know where to what to focus on and what to do. The complexities are also quite interesting. So it's very difficult to determine what is right and wrong. So people tend to start to look for scapegoats. When something goes wrong, then instead of focusing on how to fix it, it becomes much more of a focus of what do we do, how do we get there, and who are the scapegoats that we can blame. And the ambiguity creates a lot of doubt and distrust. People are too scared to make decisions. There's lots of hesitancy and also indecisiveness, because a bad judgment is also not something that people want to do. So putting all of this together creates a workplace that is not a very comfortable, nice place to be. How do we then lead in this VUCA environment, and what are the things that we have to do? So one of the main things that we're going to focus on, and that has to be done, is that the volatility has to change into a vision. It's not going to change the volatility, but we have to almost get ahead of the information and everything that is happening in this environment, because it's difficult to understand. We need to create a clear shared vision for the future of where we want to go to, and then start moving towards that. The uncertainty has to be changed into an understanding. So flexibility, fresh perspectives, looking back, glancing back, and looking ahead. So living in the past and hoping and waiting for a form of comfort is not going to get us anywhere. We need to change the complexity into a clarity, and that can only be done by collaborative leadership. So there's no permanent solution. developing the future. Nothing should be cast in stone once it's planned. We should be flexible enough to change it as new information comes to light. Even the vision should not be something that is a long-term set in stone target that we have to go towards. We must be flexible enough to change if new information emerges. And the ambiguity has to change into agility. So what is agility? It means that we can easily change direction, that there's divergent thinking where we expand what we know and we try to converge into change. We talk about the things that we want to get to. So collaboration is one of the major issues and the major things that we have to do to survive in this VUCA environment. So the planning outcomes that we're aiming for is the old is gone. It's never going to come back. The only thing that we can be certain of is that there is no certainty. Whatever we knew has changed completely. So we need to move to the planning outcomes of vision, understanding, clarity, agility, so that we can become change resilient and be able to focus and work in that change environment. So VUCA is full of opportunities. It's vibrant, it's unreal, crazy, astounding. We can do almost anything if we can just get the mindsets right and not hold on to the past. So we need to communicate with purpose. We need to believe in ourselves and our team. We need to focus on alignment and not division in order to create the shared vision. The understanding means that we have to challenge everything that is the old. We have to challenge everything that is our experience. We have to be curious and ask all the right questions. We must be empathetic to others because it's not easy for people to let go of the past and to move into this uncertain future. And a very important part is then an open mind. So forget the open door and let's rather open our minds. VUCA is about clarity. So we need to try to simplify things and not make them more difficult and more complex. We need to see the bigger picture and we need to make sure that we actually take the people with us. So talking about where we want to go, looking at what the ideals are, and do this as a collaboration. VUCA as agility. So we need to make sure that we have adaptive decisions. We are decisive when things happen. Don't be scared to make mistakes. See mistakes as part of the learning process so that we can immediately identify that this might have been a mistake. What have we learned from it and how do we move forward? We have to empower people not to be scared to try new things, because the solutions that is going to shape the future might not even exist yet. So it might come from an experiential place. It might come from something that is completely different from what we've done before. And we should never stop innovation and innovating. So it's a continuous learning process of moving forward with agility and learning and getting used to feeling uncomfortable. And how do we do this? We need to be able to affirm our collective and individual capacity to rise to the challenge of these times. We have to do this with deeper wisdom and resilience, compassion, and being skillful. This is not the job of a leader. It is a collective. And that is the one very important thing. Collaborate and get the best minds together, ask the right questions and listen to them. Connect ideas and people. We need to be audacious, so we must not be scared to try bigger, newer things. Don't be scared of the future. Embrace it. Shape your own vision in terms of where you want to go and what you want to be with confidence. We need to act with speed and agility, otherwise the situation actually surpasses us. We have to make sense of change. We must be persistent to make better things happen. And then we are ready for the VUCA environment. Then we can start to enjoy it. I hope this helped you a little bit. We'll give you links to look at more VUCA ideas and we'll talk about this concept quite a lot further. We're going to also investigate some tools that will help us in this VUCA environment, and that is what we will look at next. Look at how we're going to be innovative and some of the tools that are there. Remember that this is also not an exhaustive list, and tools are being developed as we speak. Once you have the tools, doesn't mean that you have to stick to those tools. Make your own combinations. There is nothing is cast in stone. It's a continuous learning process.